Hey, welcome to another episode of After the Buzzer Sports Update. I'm Lee Jones, your host, my co-host, Cassius McGowan. What's up, Cassius?
What up, man? How's it going? How's it going?
Hey, man, it's
Yeah.
going well, but I'm hurting. My heart hurting after that loss last night by the Tigers, man.
Yes.
We want to jump into that, man. I want to get your thoughts about it. You were there at the game. I watched it. Um, you know, wasn't a great performance in the second half by the Tigers. I really want to get your thoughts about first of all, the energy in the building, because I think that the energy in the building initially, the Tigers started off very slower. They picked it up, were playing great basketball, sharing the ball, playing defense. All of a sudden, second half, I think the energy level still hurt them coming out in the second half. They had a 15-point lead, and they never could capitalize on it. You were in the building, Cassius. What do you think about the game? Talk to me about the energy level in the second half and the Tigers' effort in the second half.
Man, I can tell you the energy level in the first half, because basically, I think it was kind of low because the turnout, because the snow and the ice on the road killed a lot of stuff. It killed a lot of momentum that the Tigers usually have, as far as the band, cheerleaders, and the full stadium, because the stadium's always packed out to like capacity. But this time it was probably, I know it was no more than like 2,000 people there, 3,000 people. If that's a
Yeah.
stretch, if they were there. And the crazy thing out, the Tigers came out, the basketball team came out with great energy. They came out, they were hitting them down low a lot. Like a lot is like basically like this man, like the down low far as Dandridge and Jones,
Yep.
they had great man. They were getting good energy and stuff down low, and it's like they got up to almost 20 points, and then I'm on a high. I'm like, oh yeah, man, this is gonna be a good man highlight reel. I'm gonna have good sights and sounds for the Tigers, man. Whoop de whoop, and then they come out the second half, and I'm like, whoa, this is not the same team. It's like their mindset went from, okay, the game is already won, and they
Yeah.
felt like they didn't have to try the second half. They thought they
Yeah.
were going to lay down, and I think UFC, I mean yes, USC, USF. I'm sorry,
You good? You good?
USF. They had another thing on their mind, and they were like, no, we're not going to lay down like this," and they showed it. They showed
Yeah.
heart and they showed grit, and there's some stuff I'm used to seeing from the Grizzlies and the Tigers, and I seen another team give it. It kind of threw
Yeah.
me off. I was like, you know what? I'm thinking like, okay, I'm knowing the Tigers going to come back. They're not going to let them just win this game like this. And I still have faith. I'm like, okay, they're going to come back. And like they had a great lead the whole time. And it's like they kept inching and inching and inching back. And all of a sudden, the referees got involved. And I feel that they kind of took the game out the Tigers' hands because they started doing ticky-tack fouls. Not going to say the Tigers didn't let them get back in the game, but the referees kind of helped too. So then I was
Yeah.
like, man, it was kind of bad. And it was like 1 minute left on, it was like a minute and 30 seconds left, and they called a flagrant foul. It was a ticky tack foul, but they still called it flagrant. And they gave them an extra 2 points when the Tigers had a
Yeah.
lead, like I think 4 to 6 points. And they got them close, and then they came back, and then it's just, man, you know what? It kind of hurt me because we supposed to be doing this show yesterday, people. And
You couldn't do it. I called him. I said, "Cash, let's hook it up. Let's get ready to go." He was too hurt. He was just too hurt to do it.
yeah, we were supposed to be doing this show yesterday, and I was so hurt because like the last minute was a blur. I'm like, I'm knowing they're not gonna lose this game, and it's like stuff just kept happening. My guy, Mr. Reliable, he missed a free throw at the end of the game. They would kind of put us up like 5 points, and he missed. I was like, oh my God. I'm like,
Yeah.
man, I was like, oh my God, don't tell me we finna lose. And I'm looking at the house, everybody, they were screaming, trying to give him energy. And no, it wasn't happening
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
all.
They were stunned. They were stunned. And David Jones actually missed two free throws down
Yes.
the stretch. Uncharacteristic 81% free throw shooter, and he missed 2 free throws down the stretch. The thing, Tigers play off of energy, and to your point, they didn't have that energy picking them up in the
Mm,
second half. There's a couple of things, Cassius, that caught my eye.
mm,
One was the fact that the ball movement really slowed down in the second half. There was a lot of
mm-hmm.
one passes and one shot. They weren't
Yes.
moving the basketball. They didn't get it down low. Think about how Dandridge dominated in the first half. The time he got the touches, he and tumbling down low. They were scoring in the paint. We didn't see any of that. All we saw was jump shots, and mainly it was because South Florida went to that zone, and they could not figure it out. There was not a lot of cutting. There was not a lot of ball movement from the Tigers, and that zone really took them out of their comfort zone. You have to stop, regroup, ball movement, give me some cutters, and they just stuck to one pass, one jump shot. And as you know, live by the three, die by the three, live by the jump shot, die by the jump shot. You have to get ball movement. And that's something that the Tigers didn't do the whole second half, and it hurt them. The other thing is their defensive intensity wasn't there. Cassius,
Mm,
South Florida spread at the court, and they just continually took the Tigers off the dribble.
mm,
Continuously. They opened up the court. The Tigers didn't play their usual on ball defense, and they
mm,
just left it wide open. And so that the defensive intensity, the lack of ball movement,
mm.
the one shot catch and shoot, those are the things that stuck out to me in the game
Yeah.
that'll cause you to have a 20-point lead and get walked down by a less inferior South Florida team.
Man, look, that was a great analogy because I'm looking like everything you're saying far down low. And when they switched the zone, I was like, because man, if you're there looking at it live, I'm like, wait a minute, like this is not happening.
Yeah,
And it's like they kept inching it closer. And then like the refs
yeah.
started calling the fouls. Because like I said, we can say the foul stuff. The thing is, you had a 20-point lead. Fouls shouldn't like equate if you still a way to get down low. Could they still? Because to me, Jones still found ways to get down low. And you know what? I think another major problem the Tigers do have. They have a major problem getting defensive rebounds.
Oh, that killed them. That was my other point exactly, too, Cassius.
Yes, the defensive
Excellent point.
rebound, man,
Excellent
defensive
point.
rebounds is like I'm
Excellent point.
looking. I saw Dandridge. I'm like, wait, why is he just he didn't get that many minutes? And I looked at the stat line. He didn't have them but 15 minutes, and I was like, wait a minute. We were short. And we needed rebounders, and I guess he had more faith in Tillman and
Jordan.
Jordan.
And
Yeah, and I was like,
Jordan played a lot down the stretch.
yeah, but in the first half, Malcolm had a great stretch that they couldn't
He,
do nothing with him.
he was more physical. He was big. He played big. And I just didn't understand why he didn't get those minutes down the stretch. You're right. And let's
Yeah,
be honest. Walton had a terrible game. Walton had a
yeah,
terrible game.
he
He
did.
stuck with Walton. And I, if Walton gets in his stroke and he hits the jumper, then keep him out there. He was
Right,
not making jump shots yesterday.
right.
And his usual defensive intensity wasn't there. I would have liked to seen somebody else on the floor at that time because he was taking shots when they were up 4-6, and he was missing every time. And so you're right.
Yeah,
I would have liked to have seen Dandridge in there because South Florida got 3 or 4 opportunities while they got 2 and 3
mm,
second chance opportunities in the second half. And all of that adds up to you getting walked down by 20 points.
yes, and that's the main thing. If you're up by 20, it was so many possessions. I mean, it's like so many. I'm like, wait a minute. It's like it's no reason. Like you know how I don't know. I guess for me not playing like college ball, basketball. But when you see the ball is like when they miss the shot, South like Florida they would miss a shot, right? The ball is
Mm-hmm.
sitting right there. You see the players just looking. I'm like, dive, just go to the ball. It's like
Yeah,
energy plays.
yeah, yeah,
They don't have an
yeah,
energy guy. To me, they
yeah.
don't.
Yeah, it goes to their intensity, and that was all of them in the second half. Really, Cash.
Mm,
It wasn't just one, but it was all of them. Their intensity. You know, defensive rebounding is attitude and intensity.
yes,
On ball defense, attitude and intensity. And
right.
to your point, they just didn't have it in the second half, or they didn't compete. But I will say this. I will say this. There's a silver lining in this because Memphis has played so many close games where they were up and then they let the team get back in, and they've won
Hmm.
those games. And now, by losing a game, it really, really can put the focus back on the players' attention to detail and closing teams out because they didn't do that last night and it cost them a game,
Yeah,
ultimately.
I know they was talking to Penny in the interviews and stuff like that in the presser, and Penny was saying, I know a reporter asked, "You think this is going to give him a wake up call?" As far as, but Penny said he hope it does, but he don't know if it would. So
Yeah.
it's like he's the coach. He's around them all the
Yeah.
time. So there's kind of scared of a coach saying this. But the thing is, you have people. I'm not gonna say they're. It's like confrontational. I guess as far as new players and old players and stuff like that. I don't know if they're fighting over minutes, like I said, because as far as Malcolm minutes shut down just a 15 versus somebody else getting 30 minutes. And
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah,
he he played about 10, 11 players last night.
yes,
I like, and I know this is conference season now. I think I like to shorten that to 8. Really 8 strong players, 9 if you have to, depending on foul trouble. But a good 8-man rotation for me is what I would stick with. And because it just seemed like the guys got out of rhythm last night. He was playing a lot of players. It just seemed like they got out of rhythm, no intensity defensively, and so that's the part that caught my eye really
right.
about the whole game, especially in the second half. So
Well, to me, like we was talking about at first, they shouldn't. To me, they should not took Malcolm out. They shouldn't took Malcolm out. They should have played. Malcolm should at least have gotten at least 25 minutes. That's at the least because he did. Far as the dirty work down low, I can say it's like they had a hell of a hard time stopping him down low, and they had to convert.
that's
They had to converge more in the paint because of him. And the crazy thing is, because I'm watching David, DJ, he had chances that he can shoot to the he can shoot to the goal and then get short jumpers because of Dandridge.
yeah,
And I just
yeah,
sit back and I'm like, man, the double team in the zone, that it actually didn't work the first half because he played Dandridge most of the minutes. But
yeah.
like I said, I'm
It
not
just
the
wasn't.
coach.
Yeah, but it wasn't any. You're right. There wasn't any flow to it. They played off of Dandridge and Tomlin very well in the first half, and the
Right.
flow was just dead. It was just dead, guys. So, guys, this is how we do it. We like to recap the Tigers game. We like I said, we're going to do it last night, but I didn't want to
Yeah.
wallow in Cass's misery last night. So
Yeah,
so
I
so
was
we
hurt
we hit
last
you up
night,
today
people.
with our analysis of the game. Hey, Cass, let's quickly turn to the Grizzlies game last night. Grizzlies were in Minneapolis last night playing the Timberwolves. A valiant effort by the Grizzlies.
Yes.
They played very well. I was again still impressed with
Mm.
Vince Williams. Of course, Jaren had a great game.
Mm-hmm.
Short of the foul trouble, Jaren has to, especially with all of the people out. He has to stay on the floor and watch the foul trouble. So that was one thing that still plagues Jaron. And he's been in the league long enough to understand you just can't get those ticky tack fouls. But I'm enjoying watching Vince Williams grow. Gigi didn't have a great game last night, but he contributed. The Grizzlies led for most of the game and had a big
Yes.
lead, and then it just fell apart down the stretch. A lack of execution. I think one of the areas that hurt them down the stretch, just not really having a go-to player that when you need a bucket, because the last 2 to 3 minutes of that game, they just could not find a bucket. Now, Jaron was going tit for tat there for a minute, but
Mm-hmm.
a lot of turnovers down the stretch and not really having somebody that they can play off of as the go-to guy, I think hurt them down the stretch. And we understand that because they're playing with a lot of backups right now. But a very valiant effort by the Grizzlies. I was impressed by the effort. And again, we talked about it last time. Grizzlies continue to get experience from some of their bench players. That's an important and a valuable thing as they continue on in this season and as they go into next season. Cassius, what are your thoughts about the Grizzlies and the Timberwolves last night?
Man, the Grizzlies, like I said, that was a great effort from them. I felt Jaren, like, if Jaren didn't get into foul trouble, there was going to be over a 40 burger for Jaren
Oh, yeah,
Jackson. Because
absolutely.
man,
Absolutely.
look, those two big guys, they could not handle Jaren. Jaren actually showed me something last night. I was like, and I'm usually hard on Jaren Jackson. I'm like, Jaren Jackson, look, you need to show me some pump fakes. You need to show me something. And Jaren showed me a lot of stuff last night. I was like, wait a minute. I didn't know Jaren had this in his bag. So, yeah, Jaren showed me a lot. I think since they don't have a natural point guard out there to control the game and control the floor of the game, I felt that's another reason why, like the lax turnovers that happen, and because
Yep.
they had Roddy bringing the ball up sometimes,
Yep.
Conchar bringing the ball up sometimes, and Vince Williams. Even though Vince Williams does a great job and he sees the floor, man, great, but you need a natural point guard to me in the offense they're running. I can see if they're running a triangle or something like that, but a natural point guard, it would have helped them out immensely yesterday. And
Yeah.
me watching Mike Conley do that to us last night, I felt some type of way last night.
He
So
hit some big shots. He hit some big shots, though. He hit some very, very big shots. And let me say
yeah,
this: Anthony Edwards is a stud, man.
yeah,
That guy is phenomenal. He can take over a game, and
yeah,
that's the other thing. With us now, the Grizzlies, their defensive intensity and not having wing stoppers. I'll always
mm,
say to the cows come in that I miss Dylan Brooks, and I think Dylan Brooks was someone we shouldn't have lost. But but
mm,
but guarding Anthony Edwards last night down the stretch, he couldn't be guarded, and this guy is phenomenal. The other thing that I noticed in the game, Cassius, when Jaren goes out, Roddy's a wider guy, but he's not tall. Our
right,
size, we're just so small of a team
right,
as far as height wise. And then and Dama came in and he was intimidated by the big guy from Minnesota, Gobert.
right,
A couple of
right.
times he was in there, double pumping, faking, fading away, and
Yeah,
you have to attack him. The one play that was beautiful was when Jaren dunked on him
man,
because Jaren
twice,
attacked him and got his
twice.
body into it. And that's what we have to do. But with Roddy and they have girth on them, but they're not as tall. So Gobert intimidated. But the effort was there. I love the effort of the Grizzlies, that grit, that grind. They're going to always compete. And again, the development is what I'm getting from the Grizzlies. And they entertained us because it was
Yes.
a good effort. It definitely was a good effort. And they're going to continue to play hard. They're going to continue to play hard, and they're going to continue to get better. But I love the development of Vince Williams. I just love that.
And what's so crazy about it? It's crazy that we are 4 starters down, and the Minnesota crowd was screaming like we had Desmond Bain, Steve Adams, John Moran,
Yeah,
Marcus Smart.
yeah.
They acted like I sit back. I'm like, people were on the message boards. They were like, y'all playing Jaren Jackson in the G League, the G League
And a G
team.
League kid, yeah, yeah, yeah,
And I
yeah,
sit back, I'm like, man, look, they were happy. That's what it gave me hope. I'm like, they're still screaming and happy because we almost beat a team at full staff, and we had one person. And the thing is, even
yeah,
with when you jump into when you talking about Aldama, to me, Aldama, even at the point of Zaire, both of them, both of them have to they need to have at least 10 more pounds of muscle on them.
yeah, yeah,
At the
yeah,
most, 10 more pounds of
yeah,
muscle. If you don't have, because to me, Zaire, him and Aldama, they get pushed around a lot.
yeah, yeah.
A lot. And then,
Zaire, Zaire should be a better defender than he is. He's
Yes,
long. He's very agile. He has the foot speed. He should be a better defender than he
right.
is, and that's where he needs to grow to when the other guys come back to stay on the court because he could be. He has offensive skill. He has
Yes, he
and he had some
does.
moments last night. He definitely had some moments last night. It's just that you to your point they can get pushed around. And
Yes,
bigger, more physical teams, they're going to in these games because, like you said, their size is they're at a disadvantage with that. You're absolutely right.
right. Yeah, because man, it's like I sit back and I like you said, Aldama. I'm watching him. He constantly pump fake. I was like, dude. Now he feels a basketball player can feel like okay, he's scared of me now. He knows because I see at least Xavier tried to shoot over him and try different things. Adama, he was too scared to do it.
He was
But
scared to do every time he got in the paint, he's fading away. He's trying to
right,
pump. That's not going to get it. You have to attack a big guy's body. You have to get into him. And the way Jaren attacked him, and you have to get him on the move. You have to get your body into him. And to
right,
your point, Odama doesn't have that in his bag right now. He
no,
just doesn't. And that's and so when you're playing that size, when him and Cat is in there for the Timberwolves, Karl Anthony
mm-hmm.
Towns, that's a lot of size and that's a lot of girth.
A lot of
And
size.
then they bring in the other tall guy. I forget his name.
Yeah, I
They
know.
come in
Yeah,
Jalen. I forget his last name, but they had
right.
6'10", and 7'3" in there, and so down the stretch they were big. They were bigger than us. And we were taking fall aways, double pumping, and all that. That's where having a Ja Morant, having a Desmond Bain, these people having Desmond out there to shoot the threes, or a Ja to handle the ball, or Marcus
Mm-hmm.
Smart to hit the threes. Some
Yeah.
go-to person would help the Grizzlies because those role players, they're not ready for that stage right now. And it showed down the stretch for the Grizzlies.
But you know what I think, and to me, I think if Vince didn't have that much responsibility like he does now, he would have played a little. He would play better on Ant Man. To me, I think he would because now he's exerting more. He has to do way more than he does like the responsibility he has now. So it's like Vince is doing everything now. It's funny because I watching Desmond Bain. It's like okay, they shifted Desmond Bain responsibilities to Vince Williams now. It's like okay, boom. Now Vince has he's doing everything as far as driving, shooting threes, playing defense. It's like okay, he's a point guard. I'm like for a point
Yeah.
forward. So yeah, I sit back. It's like that, and he's handling it well.
He really
Like
is. He really
yeah,
is. He's going to be a valuable asset. He's going to be a valuable asset going forward for the Grizzlies because he is really now he's getting into learning and playing on that NBA level, and
yeah.
coming from the G League, playing on that NBA level, and I think his growth. He's on the fast track. GG is as well. Both of those
I was gonna
guys.
say that too. I was
This
gonna say that too.
time yeah, both of those guys. This time they're going to bode well for them in their development and their growth with the Grizzlies. So I'm super excited, even though it may not show in the record this year for the
Right.
Grizzlies. It may not show in the overall record, but I'm super excited about the development for the Grizzlies. And in the offseason, we still have to address the size. But Steven Adams will be coming back, so that will
Yeah.
be that
And
that
then
will
then
be
Brandon
something that.
Brandon Clark, Brandon Clark,
And
he's a
Clark will
great
be coming
energy
back.
guy.
Absolutely,
Yeah. Yeah. So the main
absolutely,
thing is
absolutely.
I didn't feel that bad after the loss because I'm like they gave a valiant effort. And I was like, man, you know what? I can live with that one because I'm like, at least they gave great effort. And I'm knowing what they lacked in size and stuff like that. And then you know what? I think they got a little home cooking with the referees too. Because man, some of those fouls Jaren got, I'm like, you gonna call Jaren for this and you don't call Rudy for this? I'm like, hey man, look,
Yeah.
this hey, Rudy didn't have them like 2 or 3 fouls and he fouls out mostly. And he didn't I'm like, wait a minute, that's but you know what? I guess man, somebody had to cover the spread. So,
he Cassius, he has to. Jaron is too valuable
man.
to continue to play defense with his hands, hands out. making fouls out on the front court. No, save your fouls for trying to block shots or being aggressive rebounding. He just gets ticky tack fouls that's going to hurt us down the stretch, and that's his growth right there. He has to grow into that and how to preserve himself during the basketball game.
Right. You know what? And to Jaren defense, I'm gonna say this. To Jaren Jackson defense, man, I will say this. Jaren responsibility defensive wise is he covers from 1 to 5. So
He can't.
he so I from him covering from point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and center, he's covering all positions. So sometimes you're gonna pick up ticky tack, and like you said at first, he needs to control. I guess it comes over time, but he's valuable at this moment. But you know what? I think I don't really think the Grizzlies needed to win the game last night. Far as long term, the long term picture. Hey,
Look, they need to get some wins. The Grizzlies are not going to make it to the play.
no. I'm talking about as far as
happen.
draft stock and stuff like that. Draft
Yeah,
wise.
yeah, they're not, and I agree with you. They're not going to get there. I mean, I'm a realist on this thing. The thing that I always like about them, they're going to play hard. They're going to entertain you. They're going to get everything they have. But stacking up wins, especially in the Western Conference, there's a lot of good teams in the Western
Yeah,
Conference. A lot of good teams.
a heap
And it's
of
going
them.
to be hard with all the injuries for them to stack wins. So I just look at it from a development and growth of the players at this
Mm-hmm.
point on what we can do to build for next year. And you're right, as far as a draft pick, getting in that lottery and getting a high lottery pick, and as they go to
Yeah,
scout these college players, hopefully we get a high draft in the lottery. That'll be even gravy on the top as we develop our players going down the stretch. So,
yeah.
guys,
So
this is how we do it. This is how we do it. Please like, subscribe to us, comment. After the Buzzer Sports Update. We also have After the Buzzers podcast every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Please subscribe. Tell a friend about us. We will recap all of the Tigers and Grizzlies action, and we want you guys to tune in. Coming soon, we will have interactive shows where you can comment, give us your opinion, ask us questions. So please subscribe. Uh, we really, really love this, and we definitely want you guys to be an active part of what we do. Cassius, what do you have to say, man, as we
yeah,
close?
I'm reiterating the same thing. Look, y'all go out, make sure y'all like, share, subscribe, and comment to move us up in the algorithm, man. Look, we want you to share this so your mom see this, your daddy see this, little baby see this. Everybody needs to see this, man. It's gonna be entertaining, man. We're gonna have more people on the. It's gonna be a bunch of boxes. How many people we gonna have?
4 people, man. We're going to go 4 wide sometimes. We're going to talk about all Grizzlies, Tigers, and all the national sports. You see the ticker at the bottom that
Yeah.
talks about some of the things that's going on nationally. This is how we're going to do it, man. Every week and after every Tigers and Grizzlies game, and we need you guys to be a part of it. So coming soon, like I said, interactive via social media. Call in on the weekends to our weekend show. We need you to be a part of it. So please join us for this ride.
Yes.
So in closing, I'm Lee Jones.
I'm
He's Cassius
Cassius.
McGowan. Cassius, as always, bro, you the man. And people, we look forward to talking to you next week.
Gotcha.